Hi everyone, I'm in New Zealand enjoying a good time with beautiful views, beautiful birds, 56 million sheep, 4.5 million people, and we're going to show you New Zealand, what it has to offer. We're going to have a good time with watching the Maori people with their culture and their ceremonies, and I'm glad you're along for the trip.
Nau mai, haere mai, welcome to Tāmaki Māori Village. Now what you're about to experience is what we call the whittle. Now in this process and I'd like to reiterate, please do not laugh, smile or mimic the warriors in any way, shape or form. You must also remain upstanding. And you're more than welcome to take photos but from a standstill position. Movement in this process would be found disrespectful. Then afterwards you're going to make your way into our path to our fortified village. Now if you're going to have trouble walking up some stairs, I suggest you take the right path, the left path, if you want to challenge yourself. But otherwise, do enjoy yourselves, and can I have those two beautiful words one more time? Kia ora!
Kia ora!
Ladies and gentlemen, kia ora. You're welcome here upon our sacred lands of Pākaraka, the far lofty mountain of Tumunui, to our humble home, Tawanga Herepa. My name is Tute Wharemaere, Chief of the Ngātama people. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our home. Now to complete all formalities, myself and your chief will undergo the ultimate greeting of our people we call the hungi. Simply the shaking of the right hand, the pressing of noses twice, and the exchanging of the words Kia. Chief, your name and where you come from. Forward, sir. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, the completion of the hungi simply now means you can smile. You know, laugh, you know, relax. Your evening is all over. All formalities have now been complete, so really do enjoy yourselves. Most of all, Chief, you can now breathe. So, what's going to happen is I'm going to lead you and your chief inside our home in Tawanga Herepa. Okay, make sure you use all three entrances. If you have difficulty walking, I suggest taking the entrance to your right. But take lots of photos, lots of video footage, do ask a lot of questions. When we do get inside, you may be split into smaller groups to help visually. Other than that, enjoy your evening through our world, the world of the Maori. Kia ora! Kia ora! Te tūtaka hanga te whakatumatuma o rā tauma. Kia my native tongue, I just said welcome. Kia welcome New Zealand to our humble home. The home that our ancestors once lived in. Okay. Now, upon your arrival, you would have seen huts or houses scattered around our village. Okay, can you repeat after me? Wharekura. 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 I say school. So welcome back to school, folks. Okay, these are set up much like classrooms for our people. We get sent there overnight, even for an hour, to learn a bit of the aspect of the Maori culture.
We know what rugby is, which is good. Now, this area isn't dedicated to rugby, unfortunately, but it is dedicated to the arts and crafts of our people. In the days of old, the arts and crafts played a very important role in keeping our traditions alive. And thankfully, our ancestors learned how to carve and tattoo, because if they didn't, we wouldn't be standing here before you. I have no doubt in my mind that our language and our culture would have been lost many years ago if it weren't for these crafts, arts, depending on who you're talking to.
Kia ora. Kia ora. Kia ora and welcome to this part of the village we call Te Wharea Hinere here, where we are keeping alive the art of the poi. The modern day poi is a sponge ball wrapped in plastic, attached to a piece of rope or a piece of twine, which in nowadays is beaten on the backhand palm of the hand like so by us ladies to denote sound and rhythm. We also use it to depict many of the wing patterns of our smaller birds and insects in flight.
Ouch.
Now traditionally the poi was not as luxurious as these ones that we have with us this evening, okay? In days of old you're more likely to find a rock in place of the sponge. In place of the plastic you're more likely to find bulrush. And in place of the twine or the cord you're more likely to find muka, which is the fibre that is found within our flax plants, okay? It was used like so by our male warriors to strengthen and supple certain areas of their arm, their wrist and their forearm so that they were able to utilise our traditional weapons. So for example, one of the weapons they saw out there in the welcoming ceremony, the three-quarter staff, also known as the taiaha. Now with the introduction of the musket, many of our weapons as well as our training tools, they became obsolete. So the poi was put down. Many years later, us ladies, we picked it up, we modernised it, and now we use it to tell many of the stories within our songs and our dances, okay? So seeing as the poi is dedicated to the ladies.
Hangi! The hangi is our method of cooking that we use to cater for large numbers of people on special occasions. What we do is we take a hole or a pit, 1.5 meters wide, 1 meter deep, depending on how many people we're catering for. On top of this hole we stack wood up to about yay high. On top of the wood we place geothermal or volcanic rocks, which we have in abundance here in this area of New Zealand. We burn the wood, wait for the wood to collapse, the rocks fall inside the pit, we remove the ash, leaving a pit full of hot rocks. On top of these rocks we place our food baskets. Fresh food basket is meat. Okay, on top of that, vegetables. On top of that, whatever else we'd like to add inside our meal. We then cover our food with hessian or potato sacks.
And when they react with the hot rocks, it creates the steam that cooks our food. And in order to keep the heat inside the pit, we get the dirt that we dug up, put it back on top, compact it down, leave it to sit for 3.5 to 4 hours. By then, I'm usually starving. Kia ora. Kia ora. Welcome inside my ancestral meeting house of Kahupo. My family would love to entertain you for a short while, just until your dinner is ready. So pull out your digital devices, take as many still photos, and video footage of my family as you like. In case of emergency, exit signs are situated to your left, the 2 main doors there, to your right, on the other side of the wall, the 2 sliding doors behind me will open as well. So if you see us running that way, follow. But one thing our people have become very accustomed to, that is loud and thunderous applause. Alright, so if you could please cry, those applause are for each item, don't be shy. Other than that, what we want you to do is sit back, relax, and enjoy your entertainment through the world of the Maori. Kia ora!
To look for geysers, the Maori culture in Rotorua, New Zealand.
The business here really, but this name here, when you pronounce it, should sound something like this. Te whakarewarewatanga o te ope taua awahi au. This is Maui. How's this for a story, folks? When Maui was born, his mother, her name was Tarango, she cut her top knot in her hair. She wove a basket, she hid Maui, baby Maui in the basket, covered him over and set him off down the river. Sound familiar? Yeah. Moses. Imagine our surprise when these early missionaries got here and began to read our stories from their book called the Bible. We were shocked. Right now, had the geysers or geysers been erupting, they would be right down there in front of us. Our hot water coming out of the ground with the steamers. Right now, they're not erupting. So what I'm going to do is there's no point us going down there now. I want to take you back down there later when we actually see something happening.
Oh, look, here it comes.
Here's the Franz Joseph Glacier. If they have a good winter, a lot of snow, it takes 15 years for it to get down to this point here and start dropping water into the rivers. Pretty cold up here. A lot of waterfalls. We're in New Zealand in Hokitika. This is the Tasmanian Sea. 2,000 kilometers that way is Australia. Hokitika gets 27 feet of rain a year. A lot of rain, so the saying here at the pubs are, when it rains, we pour. We're at Morley Ranch in New Zealand, enjoying a wonderful lunch prepared by the family here. It's nice to get to know the families and the people here in New Zealand. They're great people. The farm is beautiful. Morley means more grass. And there's grass everywhere. There's creatures everywhere, big and small. And we're enjoying our time here in New Zealand. It's a treat. And the food was great.
Okay, well, come on out here, girls. Hello. Right, that's everyone. Well, again, as I say, I just want to let you know that it's a team effort, lunch, and introduce you to my kitchen fairies.
Hi everyone, my name is Fiona and this is my daughter Libby. She's come to work with me today. My husband and I are on a farm with sheep, beef and deer, and just about 10 minutes away from Fairlie. And I have 4 daughters.
Hi everyone, my name is Danny. Libby is my niece and Fiona is my sister-in-law, and it's a birthday.
Happy birthday! Happy birthday to you! Happy birthday, dear Fiona! Happy birthday to you! Hooray!
I'm originally from Switzerland, and we also run a sheep and beef farm on the same road as Fiona and her husband.
They do keep it in the family. Did you say you had 4 children as well? She has 4 children too.
Yeah.
Hi everyone, I'm Sharon. I have 3 children. 2 have left home. My husband and I work at the high school, just in the middle of Fairlie. We live there too, and in my spare time I breed and show Great Danes.
Oh, thank you. Wow, that's great. So I'll just tell you a little bit about your lunch today. The story at Morley is paddock to plate. And we're beef and lamb growers, so that's what we're going to be serving you today, is the beef and lamb from the farm. And along with that, a selection of hot vegetables and salads. And my neighbour over here is a grain grower, and so he has his own flour mill. And I've made the little dinner bread rolls from his flour. And our traditional dessert, pavlova. Some of you will have already tried it, but these I've made from scratch again. I have hens, so that is your dessert, followed with tea and coffee and a fudge slice. So no one will go away hungry.
Welcome to the farm. I'm Stan, I'm the farmer. The girls are your host, so it's just as well it's that way round. I'd hate to think what you'd be eating if I was the host. But Morley, you know, it's a working farm, full-size working farm. We're about 800 acres. We're 800 acres, which is about average. You know, there are bigger farms on the hill, but then you need more land up there to be productive. So what Morley's good at is growing green grass. Exactly what you're standing on, that's what New Zealand's good at, growing green grass. But we can't sell green grass to you people, or the world or markets. We have to, you know, turn it into a product that we can sell. And on this farm we graze our sheep and beef cattle, and from that we produce wool, lamb and beef. And then most of what I produce, you know, I don't know, 90% of what I produce will go for export. We end up overseas. If you go into the yard, you'll see John Deere tractors. Well, New Zealand, we don't make any tractors, you know, we don't make any cameras, any iPhones, buses, motorbikes, vehicles. We're only a small country. All that has to be imported, but we are pretty good at growing lamb or beef, venison from the deer, wool obviously, producing milk, and that milk can be turned into, you know, butter, cheese, milk powder. All that's exported, and that'll pay for our new John Deere tractors, cameras, iPhones, you know, all those things that New Zealand need. So farming is still our biggest export earner for New Zealand, and I think it's good that you've come to a farm. You've obviously come to New Zealand to see what New Zealand's all about, to see about, you know, the mountains and glaciers, lakes. That's a big part of New Zealand, but then farming is a big part of New Zealand. And Morley here is a you know, typical family farm. Angie and I live on the farm, work away. We've got our son, also lives on the farm, and he's got 3 little sons.
Wow.
So there's 3 generations on the farm. And in June we're going to leave here, we're going to leave this house, we're moving to Tekapo, where you just come from. That's about 40 minutes away. And our son will move into this house, and he'll carry on the farming. So, summertime there'd be over 4,000 sheep on the farm, and about 120 beef cattle. So, and there's, yeah, as I said, there's only 2 of us that work on the farm. But we're pretty lucky in New Zealand, I feel, with our climate. You know, it's a temperate climate. You know, it doesn't get too hot, too cold. Reasonably regular rain, although half the farm is irrigated. We normally get summer dry, then we, you know, do some irrigation. Remember, we've only got that green grass to feed that stock, so we've got to keep that green grass growing to feed all that stock. And this year we've had a great summer. We've had plenty of rain, and that's why everything's so green. But it's a wee bit frightening. We've had about half our annual rainfall already. So we're either heading for a very wet year, or we've got a big dry patch coming up, you know, to bring us back into sort of into line with average. So we'll have to just wait and see, and that's farming. You know, you just take what comes. No predators in New Zealand, so that's another big advantage. You know, no wolves or foxes, no big birds of prey or anything. No, you know, insects, sort of bad insects. Flies aren't, we have flies, but they're not too bad a problem. So, you know, that's totally different to Australia, where everything's trying to eat you or bite you and sting you, kill you. And I'd be standing here, you know, whisking the flies away.
Bye from Sen and myself and the girls in the kitchen. We've really enjoyed your company today, and just want to wish you happy and safe travels back home. Thank you.
So we're on the Lady Stirling on the Milford Sound, New Zealand. Many waterfalls, huge glacier on top of this hill, and all the waterfalls come down it. There's seals everywhere. There's a lot of birds. Having a good time. Here in New Zealand.
Oh wow.
We're in the Milford Sound in New Zealand. A lot of falls. It rained this morning. And by the end of the day, these falls will be gone.
Small impurities, and then also before it comes through our taps, it goes through a little filter as well.
Leaving Milford Sound now, and I must say this is one of the best parts of the journey to New Zealand. It's beautiful here, beautiful scenery, a lot of water.
Here's some of the scenery of the Milford Sound area by the Homer Tunnel. Can you imagine Game of Thrones, Lord of the Rings? And by the way, it was filmed in this area.
Right, folks, very quickly, who feels sorry for the sheep? Hands up, please. Hands up, who feels sorry for the sheep? Would you like to change places? No, hey, look, guys, Fender will take his time while sharing the rest, so get those phone and cameras ready. We'll begin once Fender's ready.
Pick up our babies, take some photos, do not take them home after the show, right? Right, guys, come on out, we need a winner. Are you finished, mate? Who's finished? He just won! He just won! Here we go, guys. Can you put the bottles in there, please? Thank you very much, guys. You can take your guys. Hey, not my friend. On the count of three, here we go. 1, 2, 3, and... Hobby, they haven't got shit to me. Those are ducks. What do I do now, guys? We're in trouble. That's alright. We've got this under control, eh, Doc? Steady on. Steady on. Alright. Obviously, we can't use sheep. They all jump off stage, so we use ducks here instead. I'll go one way. My dog goes the opposite. She'll do what she can to bring them towards me. Left. Oh, left. Now, for 5 minutes after the show, we'll have a real life dog job demonstration done outside by the statue of the dog who came from the front doors there. 5 minutes after the show. Movement, steady on. Alright. Alright. Here we go. Play it again this afternoon. Let's play some limbo. Here we go. Good. Does anyone have the time? It's getting close to this afternoon tea. What do you think my dog's thinking of here? Peking duck. Roast duck. Duck soup. We must get them back to safety. Can you talk me for the next shows, my girl? Alright. 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 Steady on, dog. Steady on, dog. Alright. 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 These ducks are the wanderers, alright? Alright. Steady, dog. Dog, stand. Dog. Dog, give me one. Answer. Dog, give me one. Give me one. Stand. Go left. Go left. Go left. Go left. Go left. Down left, dog. Down left. Stand. Stand. Those ducks are off to safety. Jump back and top. Sing up. Sing up. Sing up. Sing up. Sorry. Alright, this is Bruce. He is a New Zealand hunter-away that developed here in New Zealand more than 170 years ago. Also descendants of the Border Collies. Since then, we've had great big barking breeds. You've got the Harrier Hound, the Bloodhound, and the Shepherd. Now we use these dogs to ship up to more than 3,000 sheep on our farms. The way we control them, we use the shepherd's whistle. Different times, singing in different directions. Right. Here is Leo.
So behind me are all the sheep that were gathered on stage. There was a sheep that was here. There were dogs that were gathering smaller feet. And there was a cat drinking contest. All on stage here in New Zealand.
Kiwi. Okay, and he or she was born on the 23rd of March at a hatch weight of 298.5 grams. Remember? Okay, the reason why they feel so horse-like is because they're a non-flying bird. So they're part of the rat-type family. So they're related to the cassowaries, the emu, the ostrich, the moor, who's also extinct, as well as the elephant bird. So they're same family as those guys. Of course, the smallest of the family and only nocturnal. Okay? Now with these guys here, they're also known as an honorary mammal, so they're very close to you and I. So of course still a bird, not a mammal. There's all these different mammal-like features. So with those mammal-like features, our kiwi, they have marrow-filled bones. Okay, so they're very strong birds. Their feet they're used to basically to protect themselves, and that's their main source of defence. And what they do, they'll just jump up and they'll kick. Okay? Their feet are very large, very strong. So when they're adults, so females are a lot larger than the male. The feet's roughly about the size of the palm of my hand. Okay, so very sharp, long talons used to slash and gash at whoever's trying to attack them or anything like that. So with these birds, they are nocturnal, okay, and they burrow underground. Right, so the burrow can range from the top of my neck here to the tip of my fingers. And these guys, so being that nocturnal bird, their eyesight is not really the greatest, so they only see as far as you and I do. So they have all of these other extra senses to help them navigate throughout their surrounding or their territory. So for a bird, they've got impeccable hearing, okay, and also a strong sense of smell. Okay, so that strong sense of smell is used to figure out what's around them as well. And they actually have the shortest beak in the world for a bird. Even though it's so long, okay, we measure it from the nostrils to the tip of the beak. So most birds, their nostrils are at the base of the face. These guys, their nostrils are right at the tip of the beak, giving them the shortest beak in the world for a bird. Pretty cool, eh? So how do they find their food? If they've got this long beak, the strong smell, and they put their nose in the dirt and they probe or they turn the soil or so. So right at the tip of the beak, they have this sensory pit. Okay, it's like a ribbed point or so. They probe it into the ground and it feels all the vibrations and movements. So that's how they find their food. All the different variety of earthworms, beetles, bugs, invertebrates, even freshwater crayfish. So what they do is they'll fish up that freshwater crayfish, smack it side to side to dismember it, and they eat the flesh from inside that crustacean. Pretty part of the rat-type family. Do you think they have wings? They are a flightless bird, but what do you reckon? You think they have wings? No. I can see this guy's holding a rugby ball. Yeah. Okay, so they do have wings on both sides. It's about the tip of my pinky finger, guys. So that's how big their wing is. Okay, called a fastigial wing. Has a cat-like claw right on the end. The only purpose for that wing is of course so they can tuck away their long beak when they're sleeping throughout the day. Yeah? So they don't sleep on their sides or anything like that. So they sleep standing up. So what they do is they'll lower themselves, tuck their beak under, big large ball, and a lot of people refer it to as the kiwi fruit. Yeah? Cool?